Hey everybody, welcome to another Echo Means Business IGTV Live. Thanks for joining us here on a Monday night. I'll give it a couple minutes for everyone to kind of hop on in the chat and join us. So while we're waiting for everybody to hop in, go ahead, comment below, let me know where you're from and how your Monday is. Hopefully you had a better weather day than I did. It was beautiful a week ago, and as spring often does in Michigan, it goes from so nice to not so nice. And today was one of those days where I think it got colder as the day went on, and it started to feel more like a fall day or a winter day, but there was a catch. I don't know about you guys, but the older I get, it's like my allergies get worse or something. I was doing some plant healthcare work this afternoon, and I noticed I was wearing a black Bedell Property Management hoodie, and I noticed there was some pollen on my hoodie because I was around some crabapple trees, which are just about to bloom here in Michigan. And lo and behold, now my nose is running, and my eyes are kind of watering, and I guess that means we're into allergy season here in Michigan. And I didn't really have allergies growing up, but I don't know, the past couple years, it's sometimes the Zyrtec helps, sometimes the Zyrtec doesn't. So let me know, is that a Michael Bedell problem, or is this something that we all get as we grow older? I've heard the term second puberty thrown around. So is this part of my second puberty? You guys tell me. Man, we got a whole bunch going on in the chat here. That's awesome. Cool. Well, we'll dive into that in a second. Thanks to everybody for joining us for another IGTV Live over here on Echo Means Business. I'm Michael Bedell, your host. I'm the owner of Bedell Property Management, a company here in Southeast Michigan, and doing this podcast on behalf of the Echo Means Business User Advisory Group and our fun friends at Echo and these live streams or however you're listening to us. So it's great to have you with us, and we're diving in for tonight's topic, which is taxes, what the world's largest companies do that you can and should do for 2024 and beyond. We had a great show last week. We're talking about must-haves for a great season here in 2023. We had Evan and Nick on. We were trying to get Scott on, little technical difficulties there, but Scott will be on in another week or two here, so we'll get to kind of revisit that and hear what he had to say. But I hope you guys enjoyed what they had to say as much as I did. I know it was a great show, and we capped it off by giving away a limited edition PB 580 blacked out blower to our buddy Knight 9938. So congrats again to them. That's awesome. So nice of Echo to give one of those away. They're very rare. I think there was only a couple hundred of them made. So that's that is super cool. Very, very, very cool. I'm lucky to have one. So welcome to the club. So that was last week. Great show, and we'll do this week. So we got even more fun lined up for next week here. So let's see what you guys are doing in the chat before we dive in and bore everybody with the tax talk. I know this is one of these not sexy conversations where people aren't very quick to hop on a call or something with taxes or budgets or whatever. It'd be a lot cooler and more fun and probably get a lot more clicks and stuff like that than views if we're talking about new equipment or a new blower or mower or something fun that Echo is going to be having coming out later this year. But anyway, we've got we got Alex Carey in here. We got Carl's Cut and Slice. We got My Journey to Wellness. Well, I hope that journey's going well. I think we could all be on one of those journeys. And we got Spend Love Lawn Care. That's a cool name. We got Matt's Lawn Care, Clean Cut Yards, Sincere Jacobs 19. We got Josh Curvin, good old Josh C in the house. Thanks for joining us, Josh. We got Edison from Country Lawns, my buddy. Always good to see you. Oh, hey, we got Knight 9938 in the chat. that. Congrats again. That's so great. Blake Edmondson says, "Hey there, hey Blake, man, thanks for joining us. Let me know where you're from, how your Monday's going. The nice part about these solo shows is they get to be much more interactive. Versus when we have guests on, we admittedly kind of have some predetermined talking points, and we want to try and get through those in a reasonable amount of time. Sometimes these conversations could go on for a couple hours, but maybe it's best that we kind of spread it out over multiple shows and keep this a little bit more digestible. At least that's the plan for now, but as always, we let the conversation dictate that. We got Pablo from the Black Sheep Lawn. Man, you guys are going to see Pablo everywhere here in a minute. He's about to be like famous. Pablo's the man. I love Pablo. He's such a cool guy. In fact, whenever I get a chance, when there's like opportunities for different things that come to user advisory group's name, Pablo's name always gets brought up because he's like good and honest and hardworking, and it's something that we could all if everyone was a little bit more like a Pablo, we'd all be a little bit better, I think. So you the man, Pablo. Keep it up. And then we got. I'm going to butcher this. Jure Landscaping 305. I know 305 is Miami. Yeah, that's Mr. 305, right? Isn't that what Pitbull says? So that's awesome. I've got family working in the Miami area right now at the Ball Harbor shops in Ball Harbor, which is not technically Miami, but Miami-ish. And very cool. I actually am trying to go down and see what's going on there in the next, month or so. I've got to just kind of fit it in. It'll be a spur-of-the-moment trip to see what's shaking in Miami while... got to strike while the iron's hot, as they say, and I'll leave it at that. We got Carl's Cut and Slice from Philadelphia, JC the Lawn Care Guy, Jensen Martinez, the man. Pablo says, what's up? We got George Flores, or it could be Jorge Flores, 87, means we're probably about the same age, so thank you for joining us. Josh Curvin says, I was told there would be beer and tacos. I'm here for beer and tacos, tax deductible. Sure, there's certainly ways you could deduct those tacos and beer. It just has to be a reasonable expense. So, as Tom Wheelwright would say, if you change your facts, you change your tax. It's not really the type of conversation we're having tonight, but, if it were to make very legitimate sense for you to be writing those off, some type of media event or party, I don't see why not. Everyone likes a good beer and taco. And, actually, since we'll dive down the rabbit hole for a second, something that's changed this year is a lot of these meal expenses are back down to 50%. They were 100% for a couple of years to help out restaurants and such. But unless something changes, that is back to 50%. So for those who know what I mean, you know what I mean? And for those who don't, that's we'll talk about it a few more times today about how this is a great opportunity if you don't know to go back, listen again, ask some questions. I'm always very available. There's lots of other awesome resources. It's not just about me. There's I'm always here to help, but love when people contact my friends or anyone else. So you got to find someone who you want to work with and who maybe can help you see things the way that you see things or want to see things. I should say, so you sometimes just listening to someone, that light bulb goes on, and you're like, I want to be more like that, or I like what they have to say. So. That's something that interests you. You guys can always reach out to me, anybody in the Echo Means Business User Advisory Group. We're obviously a resource for you guys. So, beer and tacos. Night 9938 says it rained a little today, but it's supposed to rain tomorrow in Stockton, California. Right on. Is that one of those spots? You have to comment and let me know. Does it rain a lot in Stockton, California? I know a lot of spots, not so much in California, but there are areas that... get a lot of rain and a lot of snow. Didn't you guys get record snowfall in some areas of California? Wow, Mark Thomas Builder, the legend himself. Always good to have you on here tonight, buddy. Thank you for joining us. We got Gordo Medina, my buddy. Black sheep long hair. Paula says, is a getting old problem. Yep. All right. We got Hills Landscaping. Thanks for joining us, man. Always good to see you on here. Mark Thomas says allergies only in the spring for me. Yeah. Like occasionally dust will get me too, but it's a spring. It's like from maybe like May to, I don't know, end of June. It's just a little tough here. A little tough. Country Lawn says, Edison, another 2 weeks and the pine trees in Missouri will be insane pollen. Yeah, that's what gets me. And I admittedly have a lot of pine trees at my house. So I kind of, work against myself there. Josh says Bedell 2024. Definitely not going to happen. Night 9938, our blower winner, says Zyrtec works better than Claritin. I also wear a mask when I do yard work because I have really bad allergies to grass. That's super, super, super smart. For a while during COVID, it was like wear the mask thing, and like there were certain times with the pollen where it was like, maybe I should be wearing this mask, because you'd take it off and you'd see how caked it is, and you're like, ooh, that was in non-COVID times. I was breathing this in. In other words, like years like now, I'm breathing this in. Certainly food for thought. And if it tears you up, man, you're smart to wear that. I wear like a big goofy sun hat a lot, and I'm not here for the fashion points, man. I'm trying to protect my skin and stay safe. It's what we're all about on this program, is staying safe and taking care of each other. We got Scott from Landscapes by Acme hopped on. We'll have to get him on, like we were saying. We got W&M Lawn Care. Thanks for joining us. We got Seth, the lawn care guy, Collins. Butchered that. Seth, lawn guy, Collins. I kind of expanded on that a little bit. Got Horning's Lawn Service in the house. I'm shocked he didn't win last week. That guy wins everything. Knight 9938, like sniped it away from him. Chris says, hi, Mike. Hi, Chris. Ditch the Itch says, how you doing, Sir Bedell? I'm doing good, man. I had a good Monday. Very productive, even though the weather was a little rough. It was a little rough. We got Second Chance Barbecue. Virginia is cold and 35 today, says Seth. He says, thank you, dinner for the crew. Exactly. Knight says he'll have a margarita with his tacos. That's awesome. We got Paul Camara in the house. That's awesome. Thanks for joining us, Paul. Well, we'll hop back into the chat here in a second, but let's dive into tonight's topic. There'll be lots more opportunities to hang out, but admittedly could do that probably the whole time. It's just like not have a topic and chat with you guys. But tonight we have a great topic. It's one of my favorite topics. This is a easy pitch down the center of the plate for me. Something I'm very passionate about is taxes. I learned early on that it's one of the quickest paths to wealth is understanding your taxes. And that doesn't necessarily mean trying to get shifty with taxes or do something you're not supposed to do. We said last week, and I'll repeat it, this is not a conversation about loopholes or politics or what presidents have or haven't done with tax situations. None of that really matters to us, friends. What matters is our tax situation and how we can improve that every year. And the best way to improve that is through financial education, through making an effort every single day to understand more and to know more and to figure out how we can do better than we were doing yesterday. And so that's what today's conversation is going to be about. And we're going to glean from the world's largest companies and what they do all the time and how that affects you. A lot of us in the past week or so hopefully filed our taxes or filed an extension. If you filed an extension, you still likely had to pay unless you qualified for a refund. And, that's fine if you do, but the government, ironically, is like the richest brokest person we all know. So, like, I don't know, giving loans to the brokest person you know, who's ironically the richest person you know, is kind of a conundrum, isn't it? So, hopefully you get your refund. I haven't heard how that's going for people because, admittedly, a lot of the people that I hang around with, we all got taxes to pay. It's the good problem to have when you make some money every year, right? So let's dive in here. I've got a nice little outline put together. And so taxes, what the world's largest companies do that you can and should do for 2024 and beyond. And number one is something that I think all of us should do, but I would bet that very, very, very few of us do at all. In fact, I might be the only one on this call, and so, or however you're listening to this, podcast, live stream, whatever. I unfortunately might be the only one that's doing this, and I hope I'm wrong on that. But number one is think about taxes every day. Not just a couple times a year, not just once a quarter maybe when they meet with an accountant, but think about the tax situation every day, or at least 5 of the 7 days a week. Maybe it's 4 if there's an extra holiday, right? You gotta have, especially those, carryover holidays where it was on a weekend, but they gotta give you the Friday or the Monday, right? Okay, maybe you can have that day off. Or maybe that's the best day to think about it if you're behind and catching up, and while everyone else is out doing whatever, you've doubled down on educating yourself and finding out what your numbers are, and that, because that's the secret. It's not what other people are necessarily doing in terms of X's and O's. It's what you're doing, and so that's why learning from people that are doing bigger and better things, I've found from my experiences, that any of the problems that we face are so minute compared to the problems that they face that even though they may appear large to us, it's not a big deal. And so that's where I've gleaned this knowledge from, is from people that have in the real world dealt with numbers and situations that are far bigger than I likely will ever have to deal with by like 10-fold or 100-fold. When you're a top 50 company in America or top 100 company in America, you're dealing at this point with billions of dollars. I'm not even in the millions, so at least in terms of taxable revenue for a given year yet. So big discrepancy, but in turn, anything that might seem large to me is very small for them. So that's why I've chose to learn from people that have to think about their taxes every day. And the advantage to doing this is that they aren't surprised. Oh, once a quarter, once a year, I threw everything in a shoebox. How did it go? They realize that it's a lot like playing a game. It's a lot like watching sports on TV, except you get to play the game. Maybe it's like video games or something like that for you. And that it's moving and it's changing, and that it plays a big role in how everything gels together, especially when you have a lot of moving parts. And so it may seem kind of ridiculous for maybe some of the size companies that we have, but it's really not. And I think I'll make some additional points here that kind of drive that home on why maybe it's important to think about taxes every day. Because after all, if you caught my conversation about budgeting a couple of weeks ago, as you know, I'm a big advocate for checking your budgets versus actuals on a daily basis. And so really the next step of that is seeing, has there been any changes to your tax situation? And likely not, but what's more likely is there could be some pending changes, like new needs for equipment, or that maybe something's come up with existing equipment. And it's one thing to just make moves out in the field, but a lot of people don't really understand that going out and buying equipment or selling equipment those type of actions, it's more than just the cash transaction or finance transaction. How that plays into your tax situation can be quite different than what occurs on the day of the purchase. And I found from talking, I'll say it like this, I've found from talking with many of my friends here locally that most of them don't even truly grasp it. And so if this is something where you're like, what? He's talking about what? Like, that's fine. Go back, listen again. Shoot me a message. I'd be happy to explain it to you more. But this is, don't feel like lost or like it's just you. A majority of people have no idea about this stuff. And therein lies the problem, right? That's why, to sound like a little bit of a broken record, if you thought about it every day, we're out there improving our skills in whatever industry we are. We're pruning trees a little bit better. We're pruning shrubs a little bit better. We're if you're like Austin from Ditch the Itch, you're removing poison ivy in an even safer way because new things come out or you learn new things, right? We're always trying to improve, and where we spend our time, friends, is where we improve. And so by spending time on this every day, you could improve. And I'll just reiterate that there's nothing political about that. It's not just one side or the other needs to spend time. We all need to spend time because this is something that affects everybody equally. There's a lot of talk about everyone being treated equal, and I think that's great. I think we all should be treated equal, and that's maybe part of the reason why I love taxes so much, is because even though a lot of people would disagree with me, the rules are written the same for everyone. There's not like a special set of rules for these people over here and another set of rules. We actually all have to play by the same rules. Some people choose to interpret them differently, but I think that's actually like some of the most equal and fair things out there is just the tax code. And I think most people get it wrong and backwards, and they think that it's this big negative thing, and they don't see that the amount of tax code that tells you what to pay is very small, and a lot of those pages are immense opportunities that, maybe for us, maybe not so much for us, but certainly for the companies I'm talking about. That's why there's all these pages, is because it's a lot of opportunity to help the government fulfill its goals and partner with them to better society, really, and that's actually a lot of the reason for the tax code at this point. And I'm sure most people are like, what the hell is he talking about? This guy doesn't even make any sense here. But politicians have skewed things, and it's not always what it should be. But at the end of the day, it's equal for everybody. At least at the most basic level. And I find that very refreshing because I don't know about you guys, but I think far too much of society that there is times where there's favoritism. I know I'm wearing my Plymouth Whalers shirt tonight here in honor of two former Plymouth Whaler head coaches who've coached their way into round 2 of the NHL playoffs. We've got Peter DeBoer from Dallas and Paul Maurice knocking off the Bruins last night as the coach of the Panthers. So big shout out to them. As you know, I'm a big hockey fan, but I got cut from teams trying out as a kid, and it was like not because I wasn't good enough. It was totally just like who knew who and favoritism, and I learned really early on that life isn't fair. But at the end of the day, like when you log into something like a TurboTax, it isn't like, oh, well, we got Mozuri here, or oh, we got Tino in the house, let's treat them differently. No, everyone, gets the same basic principles, and then it just starts to whittle down from the information that you enter in, but it's really just helping you file things correctly. So anyway, they think about taxes every day. And number 2 is, and this is something I think everyone can improve on, is not only do they document everything, but they document everything in a way that an auditor can understand. And I mentioned it at the end of last week's call that the largest businesses, they get audited every year. I know when the IRS announced they were adding 87,000 new agents or whatever, somebody tweeted at Elon Musk haha, they're going to come for you. And he quickly responded with the quip that he has that, well, actually, when you have a company like mine, we get assigned auditors. So those aren't for me, those are for you. And that also means you, friends, and me as well, because we're not at that level. We're for sure audited every year, and so we have to have people that anticipate working with the assigned audit team to go through everything. And in some cases, some of these tax returns are so complex that they're still years behind. They're still, it's 2023, maybe they're working on 2020 or 2021 because there's just that much to get through. So thankfully, we don't have to deal with anything like that. However, it doesn't mean we can't get audited. And so the key to passing any audit is immense documentation. I can only speak from my experiences, and once early on in my career, I was audited by the state of Michigan Unemployment Insurance Agency, and thankfully, it was a random audit. I wasn't doing something wrong. Nobody tipped me off, but much for probably the same reason that I've had jury duty 4 or 5 times, even though I'm in my mid-30s, which is most people don't even have it that many times in their life, but here I am. So much for the same reason I got audited, and I actually was probably a little more open book than I should have been, but I got my laptop and I opened up QuickBooks and I said, what do you want to see? And ironically, at the end of the audit, they owed me $70, and the gal said that I had the most documentation she'd ever seen anyone had, and she found it to be a really great experience. And when I actually had another issue come up with some weird letter I got from them that didn't make sense, that was actually also an error, and was nothing. I was able to reach out to that agent, and she resolved the error on my behalf. So, these audit experiences aren't necessarily very scary if you've got documentation. And if anything, it's a great way to make a friend on the inside when they realize that you're one of the good guys, or as they say in Star Wars, you're not the droids they're looking for. So document everything, friends. There's great software like QuickBooks. It's what I use to document everything. I've got every receipt in there. I keep paper copies of some things as well, just because redundancy is a beautiful thing. I probably have 2 or 3 copies of everything in one form or another, and it's not a bad thing at all. Not a bad thing at all. So, yeah. Oh, and I see Alex Carey says our insurance company audited us this week. Yeah, back when I had staff, that was a yearly thing, was the yearly insurance audit to make sure that our workman's comp policy was in line with, what we paid out was in line with what they covered for the year. And shocker, I learned pretty early on, somehow they're always going to ding you. And it kind of tore me up because it wasn't in the budget the first couple of years. So that's why budgets are beautiful, friends, because now Alex knows that, end of April here, his insurance company is going to show up. And at the end of the day, it's probably okay, so the check's going to have a comma in it, how much am I paying you guys? And it's not a big deal, I guess, if it's in the budget, because you've just passed it on to your clients, and that's really the whole point, That's why we budget for things, is so we know what it costs us, and we know how to pass it on. So, document everything. We'll see what we got in the chat here. And real quick, I'll just throw it out there. I actually haven't mentioned this yet, but I actually recently became a not only QuickBooks ambassador, but I'm actually also a QuickBooks affiliate. So I actually got to set this stuff up, but in a week or so over at debtfreelandscaper.com, apparently I'll be able to give everybody a little bit better rate than what they could get just by searching around, going to QuickBooks.com. So I'm still finding out a little more about that. You guys get to hear it first, but I said yes to it based on the fact I've used them for 13 years. We've done a lot of work together. I actually was in their beta program to design their whole cash flow program. We worked on that for 4 or 5 years. It's all live now. So if you've used any of that, let me know, because I spent a lot of time, a handful of summers ago, doing all this beta testing for it. But it was a really fun experience, and it led to me being an ambassador and now ultimately an affiliate with them. So Yeah, I love me some QuickBooks. Any of the stuff I'm not a real big like endorse stuff guy, but if I use this stuff and I'm really loyal to the stuff that I've used because if I like it, I stay with it, and if it serves my needs, I'm not really like looking to create fires in my business. I've got plenty of work that my clients give me, so I've got stuff that works. Let's let it roll with that. So yeah, you're not going to see me. I know, I've friends that make a lot of money getting to endorse different products and stuff like that. And the only stuff I've really ever done is stuff that I actually use, and so I can fully attest to any of that. And I've actually offered to everyone, and includes you, friends, if you have issues with either of those programs and they're not able to help you, reach out to me. Not so I can even though I know like the owners of Jobber and stuff like that, not so I can be like, hey, you need to do something. It's more so like sometimes they don't know the answer, but I might, because I've been in the program a little bit more than maybe the person on the phone is. And so in some cases they've handed people off to me, and it's been helpful for everyone. So any way I can help you guys, friends, we're all in this together. So let's hop in here, do a little bit in the chat, and then we'll continue on with today's fun chat. Wow, we're already a half hour deep on taxes, and we've still got people here live with us, so can't be that boring, right? All right. Well, at least I found it funny. That's fun. Margarita with the tacos. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Knight9938 says he also takes Flonase for allergies in conjunction with Zyrtec. Wow, I didn't know you could do that. I do take a Zyrtec every once in a while, but I've never done the Flonase. Somebody was telling me there's like these I don't know if they're like a neti pot thing, but they like flush everything out, and I figure that's either like the best idea or the worst idea ever. So I don't know, man. You guys could tell me. Oh man. We got, what was that? V-Lot Outdoor Services. Oh, Tino in the house. The Longineer. That's awesome. The Longineer says, pay your taxes. I like that. You should. Everyone should pay their taxes. Alex Carey says, Uncle Sam has to get his cut. Yeah. It's the price we pay for living in a civilized society. And I think a lot of people end up paying what they should end up paying, if that makes sense. And when people get mad about other people paying a different amount, I think that's completely wrong. I think that shouldn't be like a resentment. It should be, well, how is that even possible? Because a lot of times when people educate themselves, they realize that they should be paying what they should be paying. And in some cases, a lot of people overpay. And like we talked about, we've got government that's the wealthiest and the brokest person we know. And they're also doing the best job they can. And so, the likelihood that they come back to anybody that overpays a little bit or something like that, or doesn't realize the different programs that may be available to them, they can't, there's no way, even with 87,000 new agents, that they could logistically put an arm around everyone and tell them, well, actually, you could do this, you could do that. That's where tax advisors and planners come in, because everyone's situation's different. And so I think from my understanding of it, and some people might disagree, is that they're doing the best they can, and they're probably going after the biggest fish that are the biggest problems that can get the most bang for their buck. And it goes back to the droids they're looking for, right? And so that doesn't mean that if you're small fish, you can do whatever you want, hypothetically. It just means that we all maybe need a break in life, and I think sometimes maybe the IRS does too, even though most people be like, did he just say that? But we're all just doing the best we can. And before we move on, I'm going to give everybody one tip. Here's 2 words if you ever get into a small issue with the IRS that can probably make your issue go away. And I learned this from firsthand experience when I was a guitar teacher, and I made this money making teaching guitar lessons, I should say. And being a derelict musician, what are these taxes, quarterly taxes? How did I know? And so at the end of the year, I owed this money plus this interest and blah blah blah, and it was a lesson learned. But I actually was able to make most of it go away because of these two words. Ready for them? Reasonable abatement. If you use those two words, somehow, it's like the special code at the IRS. And if you haven't made any mistakes and you're young and you're trying to do things correctly, that's what they want. And they're not there to beat everybody up. So I hope that helps somebody out, hopefully not now because everyone's doing things correctly, but things happen. It's a learning experience, as it was for me when I had long hair, no gray hair, and rocked out. And I also probably should have paid more taxes throughout the year, and I just didn't know. But I'm actually very thankful, so maybe that's why I'm a little sympathetic to their cause, because in reality I haven't found them to be mean and awful. I've found them to be actually very helpful and understanding, and I think they're still pretty stern. But yes, if you have done something minor and you can show that it's a learning experience, a short little letter asking for reasonable abatement with maybe a partial payment may turn into a full payment. Not tax advice, just saying, as your friend. FG Lawn Care. We got Melanie, friend of the show, in the house. One Love Lawn. Been there, cut that. I have a shirt that says that my girlfriend got me, and I love that shirt. We got Grass Girl Lawn Care. Thanks for joining us. Tino says, Mike's right. If you do your own books, you got to do it little by little because it'll get away from you, and you'll miss deductions, other things, and boom, you own $25K. Let me grab a sip here. Yeah, that is very, very true, Tino. And that's what ends up happening is people let their books get away. And then I've had friends who then they try and get bookkeepers involved. And anything's possible. Those people will do it, hopefully. But it's never cheap. And, that's actually one of the next things on the list here. So I guess we'll dive into that, and then we'll dive back into the chat. Is that they are very willing to pay for advice and advisement from people that are outside their organization. Granted, these big companies, they have their own staff that deals with finances. Whether it's a finance director, the finance department, or what have you. That group of people, it's their job. This whole think of taxes every day. That's their job. They're the ones at the company that are thinking about the taxes every day. That's why, since we wear all the hats when we're entrepreneurs, we're thinking about the taxes every day, right? So even though they've got their own people, they are very willing to seek additional advisement or find people that they can learn from. One other little thing before I dive back into the chat here is that at that level, it's very interesting. In most of, I'd say, at least American society, it's kind of taboo to talk about money and be very open about money. Yet it's very interesting as someone who has clients who are worth tens of millions of dollars and hundreds of millions of dollars, and I have one client who's worth several $billion, and I've had many conversations with all of them. And it's very interesting how people that are worth that much money are very open about money. And even though I'm just, their landscaper, their property manager, or whatever, we have very, very transparent conversations about money and what we're buying and selling and where we're moving money. And, they want, they want to know what I'm doing because, they might be missing the boat, even though I'm just, maybe some kid to them or maybe not. They've realized that they can learn from everyone, and that people that other people around them that want to have open conversations about money, we all kind of attract like magnets. And, it's like the meeting of intelligent minds. And I've learned so much from having those conversations. So I kind of encourage you guys to not hide from those conversations, and maybe try and like change that taboo a little bit, I guess would be the best way to say it, because I think that's where a lot of society is getting it wrong. I think if we were all a little bit more open, or even reasonably more open, that a lot of these quote-unquote secrets that some people have aren't secrets. They're out there in the open, and people just, it's easier to watch Dancing with the Stars than it is to come to something like this and learn about taxes. But this will actually do something for you, versus the other one is just, it's mindlessness, and it has its place, but it won't help your tax situation at all. Unless somehow maybe you're like writing off the cable as a deduction. But that's, kind of getting in the weeds a little bit of a stretch here, right? We got the Tree Removals PC, or SPC. Thanks for joining us. Trident Lawn Services. We got Derek Kirshner, the Bad Hans. Tino says, ew, you love taxes. Yeah, me and taxes sitting in a tree. You got it, Tino. And then One Love Lawn says, Tino, you hit it on the head with that comment. Unfortunately, some people will make that mistake and have a big surprise come tax time. Absolutely, that's what I'm saying, and in fairness, I was like, I don't even know if I was 20 years old when it happened. I might have been like 16 or 17 or something like that. So I think that also maybe helped. Like, I don't know how asking for reasonable abatement when you look like I do, and you look, well, don't look like you're 17. You look like you're 30, 40, 50 years old, and you've been paying taxes for a while. Maybe reasonable abatement doesn't work. But, no one likes big tax surprises. Knight 9938 says, I use a less costly and less harmful alternative to glyphosate, which you can find on the aisle where the salad dressings are. Might be some like vinegar or something like that, right? Yeah, I've done some stuff with that, and all those fun things have their place. I know both me and Austin from Ditch the Itch will always love ourselves some 25B pesticides, which are the safe ones. We got the Flexin' Texan in the house. We got, Missouri. Good to see you, Cameron. We'll have to get you on for one of these here in the next couple weeks. We have some fun opportunities for maybe get some old faces back here or some good faces. We got landscaping with KCS. We got Eli Baltazar in the house. Good to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well, man. It's always too long and far in between when we get to catch up. So we'll have to get you on here. I know you've got a good thing going. I'd love for you to share more about that. One Love Lawn says, yeah, the Blue Jackets are horrible, so I don't watch this late into the season. Yeah, I really just catch a little highlight here or there. Like I saw, it looks like we're going to have, looks like maybe London, Peterborough in the OHL finals. Would probably take London on that, but got a buddy of mine who's actually a head official in the OHL, so hopefully he gets to do some of those games. I know Budweiser was at the Budweiser Gardens where the London Knights play. It's a rockin' arena. Those are some serious fans. Landscapes by Acme says, "Go Bills! Our hockey team is the best." I don't know who the Bills are. You gotta fill me in on that one, Scott. Like the Buffalo Bills? You mean the Sabres? I don't know. Phil, my favorite hockey fan from Canada. He that guy's got some hands, man. He's got a rink in his own backyard. So he's got another generation of skaters going out there. It's a true Canadian there. I love it. Josh Curvin says, I've been red flagged twice and now gets audited every couple years. Yeah, don't get red flagged. That's very good advice. Because once if you got caught with your hand in the cookie jar, they're gonna come back for more. Or even maybe they think you might have been in that cookie jar a little bit or something like that, if you're picking up my analogy. And actually, there's a chat that Josh and a couple other buddies have here, user advisory group guys. And so when we were talking about this conversation for taxes, I think it was JC said jokingly, I don't know anything about laundering money and not paying my taxes, as a joke, because JC's the most upstanding out of all of us in terms of wonderful citizens. And so I made the serious rebuttal that, in my opinion, there's way too many ways to make money legally to even want to entertain doing any of that. In my opinion, it's not really necessary to cook your books if you know what you're doing. It's when you don't know what you're doing or you're trying to do naughty things that you need to do that. And it's juice ain't worth the squeeze on that one, friends. Like I said, there's just way too much opportunity, whether you're one of these big companies or you're one of us. One Love Lawn says, Landscapes by Acme. You are Amish. You don't even know what hockey is. Dave Tyson, Phil Vision says, yayo. We got, it's maybe Hatem Landscaping, or, if you're in a metal band, it's Hatem Landscaping, or something like that, right? I think that was the metal scene back in the day and hardcore, I think hate was love or something like that, because everyone was real lovey-dovey, but all real tough or something like that. But maybe it's Hatem Landscaping. We'll go with that. We got the Jar twins on here. Always great to see both of you. Hope you're having an amazing time. Let's see. Yeah, the Jars twins say their insurance audits them annually. Yeah. And Alex says, quick and easy if you have your numbers. Yeah, I agree. Just getting your 941s and whatever else they need. And a lot of times I remember you could just upload that on a website. And I remember the last couple years I had employees, I could sync up my QuickBooks payroll to my workman's comp policy, and when I paid, I was actually paying exactly what I was paying, off of what I was paying people. We got away from this whole estimated thing, and it was great because it was the only time that I didn't have to pay this extra couple grand. Oh yeah, the workman's comp numbers. Oh, you made too much money. You paid people too much money. Now you owe us more money, right? Every year. But because it was happening in real time and they were just billing me in real time, it worked out. And then I decided to go by myself. Of course, the year after, there's no surprise money. And I remember I actually still had the surprise amount sitting in the budget. So I felt like a winner that month when I didn't have that extra expenditure. It's the beauty of budgeting, friends. The beauty of budgeting. We got Roberto Padina, 64. Thanks for joining us, friend. Tino says, don't forget about us. We use QuickBooks Online. Yes, you do, man. You and Ricky are the best for using that. Phil says, the EMB gang. Landscapes by Acme. Scott says, do you do taxes at the end of the year or go to an account? Oh, by you? Okay. So do I do them or do I go to an accounting company? So, full disclosure, I have a family who used to work for one of these, a family member who used to work for one of these big companies, and their job was that they were a self-auditor, and that they also worked with the IRS on a weekly-ish basis to go through the return, because their return got audited every year. They were one of these big companies that I'm talking about, and so that's who helps prepare my return. But in reality, and as it says on my return, they are self-prepared, because this is like a little sad and morbid, but like no one's here forever, right? And so he has all this knowledge, and I have to learn how to figure this out. And so every year we get together a handful of times and do some planning sessions, and then we do my year-end return every year, and typically March, because that's by the time we've got all the paperwork from investments and otherwise that we can finally actually finish my return. And most time it's like we start kind of getting into it in December, and so we're just waiting for final numbers to plug in. But the whole intent is that I've had to learn it every step of the way. So in case something happens to them, and hopefully not anytime soon, they should still be around for a long, long time. But we didn't want to have to like try and drop what I'm doing off on someone else and let them pick up the pieces. So the goal is I hopefully will be able to continue to do my returns for a while. But I'll say this: I am very like there's a few people who, if I needed to make a move to somewhere else, I know who they are and they know who I am. And getting into their ecosystem would be fairly painless, and I think that that's important. Just because whether you like me or not, you have like a really nice situation going. Those situations change. I've got a good buddy who same accountant for a long time, and then the guy had some health issues, and wasn't like just all of a sudden everyone was like on their own because he had to deal with real life, and his business of doing everybody's taxes was like maybe basically done. And it caused a lot of hardship for my friend because he had no idea how to do any of this stuff. He didn't know who to ask. He'd just been relying on this one guy, and I think it actually might have been QuickBooks, one of their services, that kind of bailed him out because they ended up being like the best solution, I guess. Partly because they were like available to get on it now, which I guess is something for everybody to keep in mind, because typically a lot of very, very good people that are accountants or tax planners or anything this day and age, they're like us contractors, right? It's this game of musical chairs. There's more need than there is us available to service that need. And so when we've got really good clients, good situations, we're done. We're sorry we're booked up. We're not looking for any more. And if you're good, that's probably how you are. We're pretty close to it. And no different for the other trade industries. I know that to be true with any of the other services that I get, haircuts or otherwise. Those people are booked up. So I do my own, but that's not normal. And most people, I think, should seek advisement, because it's not for most people. It's not as easy as it looks, and they're probably somewhere between leaving money on the table to messing something up and then getting red flagged or whatever. Like, you don't know what you don't know. And it's one thing to like get out there in the business world and take some bumps and like learn from it on the next mulch job. But like, it doesn't really work like that with the IRS. Maybe we'll get Josh on here one time to tell some horror stories about that. So Alex Carey says, speaking of QuickBooks, what version do you use? I know there are different prices and subscriptions. So I have advanced, like I've basically the most expensive one, and I have that for like everything, because this is the command center of my business. The amount I pay for that premium subscription a year is what, $3-4 grand or something like that. If I wanted to have a full-time accountant, we're at $40,000-$60,000 a year, plus benefits. So to me, it's a steal. I don't know why people like sometimes hem and haw on these prices. Like it's a great resource. My clients pay for it. I don't. That cost is passed on to them with it's built into our pricing, so they pay for all of that. So yeah, I love it. It gives all the features. As I mentioned, I did kind of help design. It wasn't just like solely me, right? That's makes it sound kind of selfish. There was a lot of us. I bet you there was hundreds, thousands, but there was apps that were downloaded and phone calls, and it was it was like kind of intense, especially once they realized that like I was like really into it. And I think there was like, I remember a couple hour phone call once, but it was great. It's really awesome to see that stuff live. It's kind of like the red technology on Exmark mowers. I was thankful to have a hand in that coming to fruition a long time ago. It's kind of the fun part about being a gray-haired guy in the industry is you get to see ideas and then see them come to life and then see them go through iterations and really, really cool stuff. But yeah, I love me some QuickBooks, man. Edison says, I hated QuickBooks for a long time. Now it's open almost the entire day. Yeah, that's because when you're friends with me, Edison, I probably rub off on you in all the good ways and the bad ways. But the good ways are the QuickBooks ways. So Tino says, well. Knight says the neti pot is okay. It feels weird at first. Yeah, that's why I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do with that. Bob Wolf, thanks for joining us. James Creek Lawn and Landscape. Thanks for coming, man. Tino says, write that down. I don't know what I said, but write it down. Knight says 9938. I'm not the best with numbers. Hey, and that's fine. There are other people out there that are, and I think in life, the people that do the best realize what they're good at and what they're not good at. They get out of their own way. I know that's something that, I've been working on pretty hard the past couple of years is just trying to realize that like halfway through life. And so at this point, there are like things that I'm naturally good at, things I'm not naturally good at. And the things that aren't coming easy to me at this point, like, is there something I could do about that? Or is like, it's just going to be how it is. Like, kind of like, not that it's ever been a desire of mine, but I'll never play in the NBA, right? I'm never going to go up against LeBron and the boys. But, it's probably for the best, too, Like, wouldn't go very well. I'm not built that way. It's just kind of how it is. And, probably not going to be able to change that here in midlife either. So I'm trying to really hone in on what I'm good at, what I'm not good at. And so, for me, I learned very early on that I am pretty good with numbers and kind of cures my anxiety. And it's just what I do. I dig the numbers, but and enjoy that part of it. But if you don't, that's cool. That don't like, ruin yourself for a good time or, make it a big struggle. Find somebody who that is easy for and figure out, how that's going to be built into your costs. And then we'll get into it a little bit here because I know I could go on in this, but we'll try and land the plane here pretty quick. You find somebody that can help you with this stuff. So we got Hedge Hunter's Lawn. We'll see if we can get some people on here later. That'd be fun. Porterhouse Lawn, Logan's Lawn Maintenance. Knight 9938 says, I'd rather talk money than religion or politics. Me too, my friend. Me too. It's why we're in the right place tonight. We got Tino saying Alex uses QuickBooks Online since they're a partnership. They have 1099 employees. Fascinating. You might want to consider moving those over to W-2. There might be some advantages there, Tino. We'll have to talk about that. But everyone's situation's different. But that could be potentially a red flag depending how that's set up. So it's always good to have different ideas bounced off friends. So Josh Curvin says, gotta roll, homies. Celtics are on, baby. Hire a CPA, thin the liability, appoint these bookkeepers and accountants, third-party administrators. I'll have to drop the next tax live with Mikey B. All right. Yeah, we'd love to have you on. I know Josh has really been through the role on that one and is probably going to have some really good advice on hiring bookkeepers and accountants or CPA or whatever's the best fit for you. He's probably, and I could be wrong, but I'm fairly certain he's got more experience in that than I do. So it'd be good to have him on. We got Lake Effect Lawn. It sounds like a Midwest name. Knight says yes, vinegar. We got Evan. Great to have you on last week. And M4K Lawn Services, the Buffalo Bills. Oh, we got Mac Landscaping. What's up, man? I haven't seen you in a minute. Hope you're having an awesome season. We got Cody John says Toronto Maple Leafs hockey team. Yeah, there we go. Those Leafs, huh, man? That's 19-year drought. They beat that, but now. So here's the thing: is it's fun for like 5 minutes. Now you got to show up in the second round, so it's going to be interesting. I don't even know who they're playing, but got to show up. Got to show up. Got to show up, and you got to have a hot goalie. That's the key to the second round. And I used to be a goalie, so I feel like I can really speak to that. Is you can be a hot goalie and get through the first round, but you need to have a hot goalie to get through the second round. Because then the third round is just like a battle. It's just a battle. Oof. We got Tyler Lewis Von Quintus in the house, man. It's always good to see you. I hope you're doing well, brother. Evan says, preach, brother Mike. We got Ricky in the house. That's awesome. We got Pablo, Cody Shaw. Is this actually live? Yes, this is actually live. I'm really here live. Good to see you, man. Do you do your taxes quarterly or annually? Well, I review them like weekly. We start making moves on a quarterly basis, and then I file an annual return. But there's quarterly tax payments that often have to be made. Not always, because my tax situation changes, but that's why there's a good dashboard for everyone to maybe consider using is Ameriprise has a financial calculator that allows you to plug in whether you're a W-2 employee or 1099 or own business. It's not everything, but you can plug in most of your tax situation, and it's actually a pretty good planning tool that I've actually had a few people reference and show me, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So no, it's like an all the time thing for me. But it's just as I get older, there's more moving parts, and there's, for better or worse, there's more going on in my life than just Bedell Property Management, and some of the pieces like debt-free landscaper, and some of them you guys have no idea about, and that's just as well too. But they do show up on my taxes, and creates a little bit of calculating daily. Now, I'll say that there's every day that like for example the stock market's open, there's likely to be some taxable events happening based on how I do things. Pablo does them manually. Sorry M4K. I'm trying to catch up here. I kind of tried to get through the outline and then have the chat here too. Man, I can't believe we've been doing this whole hour, talking about taxes for a whole hour. This would never happen anywhere else. And if I didn't answer any of your questions, M4K, shoot me a message at Bedell Management or at Debt Free Landscaper and Instagram. Pretty easy guy to find. People have even come across the toll-free number I have, so it's all good. Alston Lawn Care, thanks for hanging out. Pablo's kind of laying down the law. Pablo, you're the man, dude. I'll say it again. You're the man. We got the Lawn Mentor, SRJ Lawn Care. We got Caballeros Landscaping. That's awesome. We there's a really good restaurant by where my grandparents lived. It didn't have landscaping in the name, but I think it was called like Caballeros, and it was, man, I can taste it right now. Those are really good memories that I have of my grandpa. I miss him a lot. He was a good guy and a big supporter. He would have loved this stuff. He was such a big proponent of like me having my own business, and thought it was so cool that I did all that. And that's good. You got a grandpa, give him a hug. We got Felling Welk. That's awesome. And then M4K says, just want to say hi and wish everyone the best. Let's wish all this rain away. It's killing my schedule. Yeah, it's challenging. I mean, I was able to get some plant healthcare work in today, and now I can see out the window. It's raining, and might even get some wet snow overnight. And the end of the week looks nice, but just a week or two ago, friends, it was not 40. It's 40 now. It was 80 degrees. It was 80 degrees, which in April in Michigan, that's good living. But it's all gone now. Maybe again in June. Edison says help is great, but you also have to learn it to understand it, improve, and then all of a sudden it's a habit and almost an addiction. Exactly. That's and we'll get to that. That's kind of the actionable step. We got DS Lawn and Landscape. Yeah, thanks for joining us. We got Billy Huff. And then M4K says Wednesday snow rain. See, I tried to catch up in the chat here. That way it's real time. So thanks for hanging with us. So anyway, back to we'll try and land the plane here and wrap up this tax talk here. So we're back to talking about what the largest companies do that you can and should do for 2024 and beyond. And they have a plan for how every purchase or business decision will affect their taxes before they make any sudden moves. So how does that affect us, friends? Well, they don't just go like buy trucks and mowers. Not that they're necessarily buying trucks and mowers, but stay with me here. So they don't just go like buy them and then figure it out later. Before they go buy them, they know how they're going to pay for them and how they'll be depreciated. Now, the first one you probably tracked with because you're like, oh, yeah, pay for them. Yeah, we do that. But depreciate, what is that? Well, what you pay out of pocket in a year may not be what shows up on your taxes. And this leads to my next point. Their P&L isn't necessarily their final tax situation. So a lot of people, QuickBooks, otherwise you can create a profit and loss statement. But depending on how that's put together, that may not totally reflect what your final tax return is. And so there's planning that's involved. And there's planning if they want to sell stuff or they want to move or, whatever it is. And so easier said than done, but it's something that I've tried to do. And I found it to be very, very helpful because I'm not very surprised when I do my annual return. It typically is exactly what I thought. It's exactly within what the budget says, and actually made it really easy to approve the annual return this year and get it in, and they both were accepted very quickly, and we're on to where we need to be. Now we can focus on all things 2023 and put 2022 behind us. I feel good. It's been accepted, so I'd be pretty surprised if anybody comes back and says anything. And if they do, I'm not going to lose any sleep because I've got lots of documentation. So I just encourage everyone to plan, and ultimately these companies, they understand how depreciation works and how to use it correctly. And I add that last point because far too many people, partly because it looks cool, they run out at the end of the year and they buy stuff for their tax situation. And, I don't know your tax situation. Maybe that is the best move, but it might not be the best move. And it really might not be the best move long term if you're planning on taking advantage of what's called Section 179, which allows you to expense certain large expenditures in 1 year rather than depreciating them over several years, which that whole depreciation thing catches a lot of people by surprise. So those are a few more. We'll dive into the chat here for a second, and then we'll land the plane momentarily and get you guys on to the rest of your evening if you're joining us live, or if not, thanks for listening, and wherever you are, whatever time it is, hope it's an excellent day. So we got Billy Huff saying he had the business for 20 years and then gave it to his son. Now he works for him. That's awesome. M4 case is how about an LLC compared to an S corp? Yeah, they both absolutely have their place. And that gets very individualized as to why you would want to do one versus the other, and that's something that if you're not very certain which one is an obvious choice for you, then this goes back to building into your budget some opportunity for advisement on that. That way you can get what's going to be the best answer for you, because I guess the easiest way to probably explain it is, then you maybe a sole proprietor, not even an LLC, just filing as an individual, and you step it up and now you're an LLC, and there's some more things you have to be paying attention to. And an S corp basically adds another level on top of that, and there are certain things that have to be done correctly to maintain that designation. And so if you're not doing that ideology won't overly be helpful. So that's a very, very individualized thing that's definitely different for everybody. So great question though, because that's a great example of what I meant by like thinking about your taxes every day. It wasn't like pulling out your taxes, like staring at your 1040, the front page of your taxes, or flipping over to your Schedule C or something like that. You could do that. I'm momentarily going to suggest you do that here, but it could be things like that, like just thinking about like, are you using the best entity, or learning about different entities, because just because something doesn't make sense now doesn't mean that your tax situation won't change in the future, right? So great question though. We got Cutting Edge Property joined. We got Milton to Urbina, thank you, and M4 cases, they're an S corp. So there you go. You know all about that fun stuff. And then I'll also throw this out there. Most likely, if you're an S corp, you're fairly profitable in your business because there's a reason why you're taking that designation. So congrats. That's a good thing. That's a very good thing. And hopefully you're getting to enjoy those profits and use those to set you up for exactly where you want to be in the future. So that's a really, really wonderful thing. So last couple things, and then I'll hit you guys with the actionable step, and we'll wrap this one up here. So no, M4 cases, thank you. You're very welcome. The last couple ideologies here, or ideas, just to share from these big guys, is they understand what a net operating loss is, and that a net operating loss today isn't necessarily a sign that their business is failing. And I bring that up because I've seen people in our community who initially don't make money because they didn't realize that they weren't initially supposed to make money just based on how they set things up. And then it was so disappointing to them that they quit. When in reality, like, they were on the right path. They were doing the right thing. They just set unrealistic expectations for themselves. And part of it was because they just didn't really understand their situation properly. And then they decided the best thing to do is blow it all up rather than seeing it through. When in reality, if they saw it through, they would have been able to take better advantage of things like a net operating loss, or why sometimes businesses have to invest in themselves to make a bunch of money, so that when they do make a bunch of money, they then get to reap the benefits of the tax code, and how the government encourages people to try and better themselves and their community. We got the National Redneck on here. We got Paul 321. And we got B-Strict72. Thanks for joining us. And then lastly, and this is going to sound very similar to a couple weeks ago, they have a budget and they use it every day. That's right. And it's important because it taxes are a part of this budget, right? And how they're going to get help and advisement for their for their taxes as part of their budget. And so it's important for us to realize that the two are a little interconnected, because at the end of the day, if you have in your budget your taxes, you're not very surprised when you have to pay your taxes because you have a written plan, which that's what a budget is. I maybe didn't do the best job of putting that out there the other week, but your budget is a written plan of what you're going to do with money. And so taxes are a part of that. You should plan on paying them. They should be a part of your budget. That's what these companies do. And, that's why, a great way to like ruin everything as a big company is get sideways with the IRS or the Securities and Exchange Commission. It's just not a good look. And most likely a lot of these companies are publicly held, and so they always have to be outward facing. They always want things to look good, but it's not that different than us, friends, between Instagram and Google reviews and what have you. Nextdoor, we're all pretty outward facing, and so makes sense to stay on top of things, makes sense to do things correctly. That way we don't become the bad news of the day, as we see happens, right? You just don't want it to be you. So M4 cases later, guys, get his kids off to bed. He's enjoyed this live. Thanks for joining us, man, and thanks to everybody who's joined us tonight. It's so great to have everybody here. So we'll wrap this one up. Every week I give you guys an actionable step. Last week we had a great actionable step that actually Evan and Nick provided, and I encouraged everybody to write it down, and hopefully everyone remembered to slow down, stay safe. If you've been relatively safe, you've been able to join us this week because you're still here, so thanks for that. That's super awesome, super awesome. We care a lot about you. Want everybody to be safe, not just so they can join us on the live stream, but so you can enjoy all the wonderful things that life has to offer, Echo products or otherwise. So this week's actionable step is to spend time this week thinking about your tax situation. What a shocker, right? But here's what I really want you to do. I want you to review your recent tax statement, and I want you to do it till you understand it well enough to explain it. So maybe this means getting some help from somebody to help you understand it. But maybe you two can go back and forth, almost like you're practicing for like a play or a musical or some type of performance. And you just keep going until you remember the lines, or in this case, till you can explain to them how your taxes work. Because then you actually understand how your taxes work. And let me tell you something, friends. If you can do this, you will be in the small minority of business owners who are financially educated enough to understand their business well enough that they can now have intelligent conversations with the professionals they hire to manage their business affairs. I can't say it any better than that. Be able to have intelligent conversations with people and not let them take advantage of you or put the wool over your eyes, or what's far more common, since not everyone's really that nefarious, is a lot of times people are offering you to the best of what they understand. But if you're not able to help them understand better, they can't help you as best as they possibly can. So the more you can understand your specific situation, which once again, a common theme of these actionable steps is not so much about everybody else. They're about you. They're about what you can do this week and beyond to better yourself and your family and your life and your business. all the good, wonderful things, right, friends? So I encourage you to take time. That way it's yours, it's personalized, you've lived it, you understand it. Hopefully it'll allow the light bulb to come on a little easier, because you'll be like, right, that's why this number's here. I did that. And yes, you did. That's why it's there. That's why it's on your tax return. And it can start getting the gears turning, because in 50 weeks or so, we've got another annual return due for 2023. And it's up to you to learn the most and to do your return the best possible manner, because ultimately there's not necessarily a right answer to taxes. There's just wrong answers. And I'll leave you with that, friends. So thank you so much for joining us. We've got we got Almond Landscape in the house. Thanks for joining us, Caleb. We're gonna have to get you on here. You've got always such great advice and great energy for this industry, man. Always so good to cross paths with the almonds. Edison saying hello, and it says truth, and thank you. We got Toters, Total Turf Care. Hopefully I said that. Toters. It's all good. We got Horning Yard Service says good night. So yeah, I'll leave you with that, friends. Thank you for joining me tonight, live, or whenever you're listening to this. Appreciate all of you. Stay safe. Care about each other. Care about your taxes. And we'll see you next week for some must-haves for a good season 2.0. And we're probably going to have some surprise guests, because who needs another solo show? Am I right? Have a good night. Take care, guys.